Almost 7 years ago, South Carolina adopted a lottery. They didn't gamble on its executive director. Meet Ernie Passailaigue, coming up next on Carolina People. Good morning. Welcome to Carolina People. This morning we're at East of Chicago Pizza, where pizza's done right. The 2007 Kids Restaurant of the Year at 3901 North Kings Highway. We're focused on tomorrow's big grand prize event, wrapping up the summer escape at the Market Common at the Beach Boogie and Barbecue Festival. And we're visiting with Ernie Passailaigue, the Executive Director of the South Carolina Education Lottery. Good morning, Ernie.
Very good to be with you.
Thanks so much for coming in. And, of course, it's on the eve of your big event tomorrow, all day long, but some special piece in the afternoon.
Thanks again for the invitation. We love to come to the Grand Strand.
Absolutely.
It's part of an important part of the fabric of South Carolina.
Right.
And so this is a culmination of our big summer prize events.
Right.
It took place all around the state. And so tomorrow we'll be giving away to one lucky prize winner.
Right.
A F-150 pickup truck.
Wow.
1 million airline miles.
No.
Yes.
And the big cruise for 4.
A cruise for 4. A Carnival cruise.
Wow. Wow.
And some other prizes
Right.
to audience participants.
Sure.
There'll be 5 finalists in this particular promotion.
So the 2 at $1,000,
Right.
2 at $3,000, and then the big grand prize winner.
Exactly.
Which is very exciting. And audience participation, so there's a reason for folks to show up at the Market Common tomorrow.
Absolutely. Not to mention the great event you have.
Right.
We were very excited. We participated last year.
Right.
And it was a wonderful event.
Oh, yeah.
Well attended. And
The Beach Boogie and Barbecue Festival, and of course to benefit the Omar Shrine.
Yes.
And there's a big event also tomorrow and even tonight benefiting the Citizens Against Spousal Abuse. So there's a lot of great recipients of getting the people out there to try some of the great barbecue. And I'm sure that's part of the reason the South Carolina Education Lottery teamed up with the Myrtle Beach Area Chamber of Commerce and the Shrine to really make it happen.
It's just an all-American event.
It is, yeah, it is. And the Market Common, such an easy location, the former Myrtle Beach Air Force Base for our viewers in the PD, even our viewers in southeastern North Carolina who want to come down and be a part of tomorrow's activities and the events tonight from 5 to 10 out there. There's a big concert tonight, a big concert tonight, wrapping up the Sun Fun Summer Concert Series, and of course all day tomorrow. We had Holly McMillan, the Director of Festivals, last Wednesday on the show, and she had highlighted literally 21 hours, 5 hours tonight, and a good 16 hours tomorrow of events going on until midnight. And of course, this is probably one of the biggest components of that, the big grand prize. Will the F-150 be out there tomorrow?
That I don't know. That's the only question I don't know.
That's right. It may be heading down here.
Yeah, but it is available.
Yeah.
But the basic event, as you outlined it, we'll have our tent, our lottery tent out there, selling tickets and giving away prizes in that particular part of the festival.
Right.
Then we'll move over and have the grand prize drawing.
Right.
5 lucky finalists, over 135,000.
Oh, come on.
Entries in this
Is that
contest.
right?
Yes.
Over the course of how many? I mean, it was a couple of months.
We started back in May.
It's a summer escape. Yeah. That is tremendous. Well, of course, it's great to wrap it up on the Strand. Is the Horry Georgetown component a big piece? Not exact figures necessarily, but do a lot of lottery sales come out of the Grand Strand?
Yeah, actually, Horry is not only an important county in terms of lottery sales, and Georgetown for that matter. It's a border county. When we still get a lot of cross-border traffic from North Carolina.
Is that right? Yeah.
Which is surprising since they started their lottery in 2006. Still, 15% of our player base comes from North Carolina.
Is that right?
Yes.
That is tremendous. That is tremendous. So you're in all the border counties, Dillon, Marion,
exactly,
even a little bit
York.
York, sure, all up and down there. All the counties that go all the way around up into the even into the upstate. Bordering up there on the Greenville, Spartanburg area.
Yeah, Gaffney. But I can tell you one thing, they love to come to South Carolina and they love to come to Horry County in the Grand Strand.
Right.
And so this is just natural for them. And certainly if you're a beach music enthusiast,
sure,
you love barbecue.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, come on.
Beach Boogie and barbecue.
Can't get any
Listen to
better.
that. Real quick about yourself, Ernie. You're originally from the area.
I am from Charleston.
Right.
I know the independent county of Horry very well.
Republic.
Republic. I'm
Of
sorry.
Horry, that's right.
I served in the state senate for 13 years.
Yes.
And I have some friends that are either former members of the legislature
Sure.
or current members of the
Sure.
legislature. So we keep in touch.
Absolutely. Of course, Luke Rankin and Dick Elliott, Senator Ray Cleary, who joined
Right.
the Senate after you were.
Fine addition.
That's exactly right. He's been a great addition to the area. Of course, Yancey McGill even, I think,
Yes.
stretches into O'Ree a little bit.
He was in my class. So
Is that right? Yeah. Well, there's a lot going on up there in the state senate. Of course, that ties in, the legislature really ties into a great degree on the mechanics of the South Carolina Education Lottery.
Right. And we had some discussion beforehand, but and I think a lot of the viewers know, that the lottery net profit is the decisions after we make a buck,
Right.
net a buck.
Right.
That goes to the legislature, and the legislature appropriates all the lottery net profits. And that typically takes place once a year during the budget process.
Right. Okay. Annually.
Yeah.
Yes. That happens annually. Well, of course, a lot of time probably went into setting up the South Carolina Education Lottery. For viewers who may not be familiar with how it actually kicked off, share with them a little bit about the history of the South Carolina Education Lottery. And just real quick, before we get into that, if a viewer needs to get off to work now or get family off to school here on the Labor Day weekend, what's the best? Is there a good website to
Yes.
visit? Okay.
Right. SCEducationLottery.com.
Very easy.
A lot of the information we're going to share with the viewers,
Right.
you can absolutely go to our website
Okay.
and click on the icons, and you'll be directed.
I got to admit, there's some frequently asked questions there that I stole to try to prep for your interview today, so we'll get into some of those for viewers who may not have been to SCEducationLottery.com just yet, but just give viewers a sense of a little bit of the history before kicking off in January of '02.
Great. Year 2000, there was a constitutional amendment, and that amendment set up the lottery, and that passed by a 54 to 46 vote. 2001, when I was still in the Senate, the legislature passed the enabling legislation, the statutes, the law which governs the activities of this agency. We are a state agency, and so we're governed by a lot of the laws of state government, like procurement and things like that. But anyway, I was hired as executive director August 7th of 2001.
Okay.
5 months after that, we were selling lottery tickets.
Wow.
So I walked in the door. It was hardly a door to walk in, one room. We had no telephone. We had nothing, basically. We built out an organization fairly quickly.
Right.
We're running a world-class lottery now. We gross about $1 billion in sales every year.
No way.
Greg, if we were a publicly traded company, we would rank number 5 in South Carolina in terms of gross sales. So it's a big organization in terms of gross.
Right.
We have about 145 employees statewide
Right.
that run this business, and we're very proud of them. They want a world-class lottery. We're not only in terms of world-class by any measurement standard, we're ranked number 5 in the United States in per capita scratch-off ticket sales for the first quarter of 2008.
Wow.
Considering 90% of our sales takes place at convenience stores with gas, and gas prices escalating, we think we're doing very well in terms of marketing the lottery. But importantly to your viewers, we run not only a fiscally conservative lottery by any benchmark,
Right.
but we run a socially conservative lottery. By that I mean,
Yeah. What do you mean?
well, we want to make sure people understand that the lottery, if you buy a lottery ticket, you ought to play for fun,
Right.
because chances are you're not going to win a prize.
Right.
So part of all this, and what's happening at this great event in the Grand Strand
Tomorrow.
is we like to reward our players for playing
Right.
and having fun.
Driving home just plain fun.
Just plain
Yeah,
fun.
Right.
And we want to drive traffic to the Grand Strand. I mean, I know that's really not our mission statement.
Sure.
But I'm interested in the Grand Strand doing well,
Right.
tourism-wise and that type of thing. And so to the extent that we can use our 3,600 retailers all over the state to highlight what's going on tomorrow in Myrtle Beach, we want that to occur. And hopefully players, people from all over, not only South Carolina, but North Carolina and Georgia will come
Right.
and enjoy this wonderful event.
That is tremendous. You all actually market to folks in Georgia or market to folks in North Carolina to come on over and
Absolutely.
how do y'all go about and what are the principal ways of doing that? I'm sure you've got good partners and
Yeah.
good friends over in their area, and indirectly they end up if they're advertising in the Charlotte market or in our market, the Florence, Myrtle Beach, Lumberton, Laurinburg market, they're indirectly, I guess, not targeting, but getting folks out of an adjacent state.
Well, we start off with great marketing partners, good media partners like yourself.
Oh, yeah.
Secondly, though, we have our retailer base, 3,600 retailers throughout the state.
Right.
And they they actually sell all the lottery tickets. We don't sell the tickets, the retailers do. So you can, most of them are convenience stores with gas, as I mentioned, but you can go to a Publix or a Buy Low or a Food Line or a Piggly Wiggly.
Sure.
Drugstores have them.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, and so, you know, there's the lottery retailers throughout the state, and all that information, point of sales materials and marketing materials,
is all right there.
Plus our media contacts, like yourself.
Right.
We get the word out, and we hope to have a grand event. We hope people have fun. Hopefully they win a prize. If they don't, all our net still goes to the school children in South Carolina.
That is tremendous. That is tremendous. Are there lots of, I see, of course, a tremendous position there. You're currently serving as the 2007-2008 president of the North American Association of State and Provincial Lotteries.
Right.
So clearly there must be a few more than just North and South Carolina having state education lotteries, as well as the 2008-2009 chairman of the Powerball Group and vice president of the Multi-State Lottery Association. Some big titles there, but obviously it ties into the fact that South Carolina has done so well in its short 6.5, almost 7 years here. How many other states actually have state or education lotteries?
Well, education lotteries, I can't tell you.
Right.
Most of the lotteries that were formed after Georgia, which was formed in 1992.
Right.
I think all of those have become education lotteries.
Is that right?
Profit.
Right.
So that would be South Carolina, North Carolina, Oklahoma, Tennessee. But the majority of states in the Union have lotteries of some sort, but their money might go to something else.
Oh, yeah, to different things, yes.
But I think there are 8 states left that do not have lotteries.
Is that right?
Yeah. Arkansas is on the ballot this year, and they'll probably adopt it if you go by the polls. And so the majority of states do have lotteries.
That's fascinating. That's fascinating. I mentioned Powerball there. That may be something that I understand Powerball is possibly changing a little bit.
It is, and you know, we're very excited about this. We added Florida, the 4th largest state in the Union, to the Powerball Group, which is already the premier lottery name in the business worldwide.
Right.
When you brand a lottery name like Powerball, you equate that to Coca-Cola or to General Electric. It's for our industry. So that's important. But the Powerball game will change January 4th of 2009.
Okay.
Basically, keep the ticket price the same of $1. We raise the minimum jackpot, which is now the highest in North America, from $15 to $20 million minimum jackpot.
Tremendous. And
we basically reshuffle the prize structure to allow a lot more winners. The $2 bet, which is the power play option.
Right.
If you get the match 5, to get 5 white balls and not the Powerball, you automatically win $1 million, which a lot of people, you know, people cannot conceive of a jackpot of $300 million.
Oh, yeah, sure.
I mean, so the common thing we hear, and we listen to our focus groups and our players, they said, you know, $1 million is a nice prize.
Oh, yeah.
So anyway, we've done that. We've accomplished that.
Right.
So we're very excited about the changes in Powerball. And I think our players will.
That's very exciting. Of course, folks can find links to Powerball from seeducationlottery.com.
Yes.
And other opportunities there. And, of course, a lot of folks wonder about how people, let's just get into some of those basic frequently asked questions. I know there's a lot of focus for Beach Boogie and Barbecue. Folks can go online to beachboogiebarbecuefestival.com to learn more about all the tremendous activities, not only tonight from 5 to 10, but also tomorrow. There's a big football game. They're playing on a 30-foot wide, I think a big Clemson, Alabama. Some big football game is tomorrow that a lot of folks will be watching and being out there. But to see your tremendous tent and the big giveaway tomorrow, a lot they can do just getting out to the Market Common tomorrow. It's a good place to be for Labor Day weekend. But some of the frequently asked questions that are on your website, one key one is how do people apply for lottery scholarships?
Well, that's a great question, and the answer is typically you drive that to the college or university that you're applying to.
Okay.
You fill out a financial aid form. That's a requirement for any financial aid, so you have to fill out that form. once you get qualified, and there are qualifications for different types of scholarships.
Right.
The typical, the most unique and probably the most accessed scholarship is the Lottery Life Scholarship.
Okay.
That's $5,000 plus books per year. There's a requirement you must have a B average, 1,100 SAT score,
right,
and the top 30% of your graduating class, 2 out of those 3. Unlike Georgia, for instance, once you have a B average, you get the Hope Scholarship. So there are different criteria this legislature has set to determine the scholarship awards. But you can get a Palmetto Fellows, which is a little bit higher, a little bit harder in terms of academic achievement. A Hope Scholarship, which is a little bit lower, and the stipend is lower. And then one of the most important scholarships is the Tech in 2 year. Any South Carolina resident that enters a Tech or 2-year institution gets financial aid. And so typically that could be, well, it all depends on the tuition for each Tech school. That's set by Horry, Georgetown Tech will set their tuition, but the lottery scholarship will be a component of that, and a big component.
Absolutely.
We're finding a lot of young people now going to the 2-year colleges or the Tech system, and then going into 4-year colleges. Not only to get a good basic education, but also financially, that the squeeze
Thanks
is there.
to the lottery, absolutely.
Yes, absolutely.
It really is a great testament there, and as you drive home the point that it is just plain fun, but at the same time a real focus on education. It's critical to drive that back at all times, and of course when folks think about that, how much money from the lottery sales actually goes into education. I'm sure it's probably one of the, if not the most frequently asked questions.
It is. And again, that's the educationlottery.com. You can get a lot more details, but over $2 billion has been appropriated by the General Assembly since we started up through fiscal 09, which is the budget year we're in now.
Right.
And that equates to over 588,000 lottery-funded scholarships since we started up. Now, it's hard to imagine a South Carolina family not touched by the lottery in terms of scholarships. But there's a lot more, Greg, and people think this is just a college scholarship program. Actually, with higher ed, there's a bigger component, a very important component called the endowed chairs. $190 million has been split 3 ways to our research institutions, Clemson University, University of South Carolina, and the Medical University. And that has to be matched dollar for dollar. For instance, we mentioned Clemson and Alabama football game coming up tomorrow. Clemson has in Greenville the Automotive Research Park, the world-class Automotive Research Park project. That's being built with a combination of lottery funds matched by the automotive suppliers like BMW and Michelin upstate.
Tremendous.
So that's a big component. But then there's more to the story, as Paul Harvey would say. $500 million has gone to public schools. People are not that
K through 12.
K through 12.
Wow.
And see, when you get a lottery scholarship, the parent or the student can see that it reduces the amount you pay out of pocket in tuition. But in public schools, that's distributed by the legislature on various programs statewide to the school district. So that's kind of an unseen part of lottery. But I guarantee you, Horry, Georgetown counties have received a significant amount of lottery aid. The biggest component of that, and this is another frequently asked question, why don't you give more money to the younger kids? 300 of that 500 million has gone to kindergarten through the 5th grade for the basic skills program, of reading and that type of thing.
300 to 500 million of that?
300 of the 500.
Of the 500.
So over
60%.
Of the amount carved up for public schools. Another component, almost 100 million, has gone to the Education Accountability Act, which is a standards program to raise the standards for all South Carolina school districts. School buses, technology in the classroom. County libraries have received $14.8 million in lottery funding. So it is. And again, if your viewers want to see more of this, go to our website.
Absolutely. SCEducationLottery.com. The great thing that the lottery's website does is it doesn't sugarcoat. It highlights that there are firm questions that are asked. This simple question, if the lottery's doing so well, why are property taxes for schools increasing and school children not provided with basic classroom supplies? That's straight off of your website.
Absolutely.
And of course, you're not going to sugarcoat it because clearly folks want to know.
Well, a lottery is a component of a big pie.
Right.
Education is a big business in this state and others.
The biggest,
Absolutely. And it should be. And so basically what you have to look at is the lottery is a piece of that. it's an important piece of it, but it can't solve all the problems of public education from funding on down.
Right.
But you have to remember that public schools are funded by federal, state, and local dollars. The state component of education, I know over half the state budget goes to education.
Right, absolutely.
And so the state budget is over $7 billion now.
Right.
So then that goes into the school districts, supported by your local property taxes decided upon by your school board, your local school board, and federal money, and maybe private grants coming in.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, it's I can tell you from being in the legislature that there's never enough. There's always great programs. There's never enough money to go around. It's just a matter that members of the House and Senate in South Carolina have to make some very important decisions. And I shouldn't have an opinion other than a personal opinion on this.
Right.
So I'm expressing my personal opinion, not as a director of
No, I
lottery.
understand, absolutely.
But they have done a great job. I think they've done a great job with things.
And they are the ones, not the 145 of y'all at the SC Education Lottery, that are actually deciding where the dollars go. It's the legislature.
You need to, if you want to have input in that, you call your local House of Senate.
Sure, absolutely. And there's quite a few of them to call, but your direct one, I mean, all the House and Senate members are willing to take that call. They may send it over to somebody else, but they want to represent the entire state. It's very important to step out in that regard. And as you think about so many things that have to happen, that 25% K through 12 over the last almost 7 years, 2% to other community education programs. I just want to ask you to highlight those for a second. And then, of course, as you said, the 73% to higher education programs. And
yeah, well, obviously, you have the school buses are over $60 million, technology, and then there's certain funding that's gone specifically to this place or that place.
Sure.
I can't remember them all, but it's usually something like a Girls and Boys Club or something like that. The school for the deaf and the blind
in Spartanburg, absolutely. And its locations all around the state, which is tremendous.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
The education lottery is really impacting all facets. That old idea, I think of Darla Moore, somebody highlighting not only that education drives economy, but education is economy. Is the economy, and the entire push there, we've got to remember, clearly y'all's focus is pure.
Absolutely. Darla's a great example of you know the importance of public schools in South Carolina. She's a resident, I think, of Lake City.
That's correct.
And quite prominent resident of Lake City. And she's done a great job in terms of talking about the needs for improving the education system.
Absolutely. How much is spent on advertising? A lot of folks ask that. Of course, we're here on a commercial station, which I'm sure generates good dollars. Is the lottery station, Fox 43, here in the PD in southeastern North Carolina, as well as right here in Horry County. How much is spent on advertising throughout the state?
Well, we're capped by the law says we can't spend any more than 1% of the prior year's sales.
Okay.
Right now, we're about 0.8 tenths of 1%, which are about 20. So you really were 20% under our state mandated.
That's great.
And our commission looks at this. Sure. And the thing is, we want people. We need to advertise a product, and we do so in a responsible manner.
Sure.
But we don't want people to, and we don't want to suggest people that lottery is something that it's not. We also, important component of advertising, and you will have it in your rotation, is the play responsible message. If you do have a gambling problem, there's a way to get help free because the lottery funds it. We've funded $2 million to South Carolina DOTIS for gambling addiction programs. So there are those things that add in the mix. But obviously, we work with our great media partners throughout the state trying to get out our message about our products.
That's great. Ernie, what do you attribute the success of the South Carolina Education Lottery?
Well, I think there's a lot of things. First of all, we have a great retailer base. We have great media partners that get out a message and assist us with getting that message in a very conservative manner. And then I think what we try to do is promote it in a way that it is conducive to the viewpoints of the majority of South Carolinians. And I can tell you this, people now see there's a direct correlation between the lottery dollar gross sales wise and a net dollar and how it's going in. And the majority of people, whether they play the lottery or not, like the financial component of it.
Absolutely. I got to ask one last question. If you weren't currently the executive director of the South Carolina Education Lottery, what do you think you'd be doing with your tremendous both education and accounting background, your service in the state Senate? What do you think you'd be doing?
Well, I do live at the Isle of Palms on the weekends, so maybe do a little fishing and crabbing.
Right.
But I've always wanted to. Education's always been very important to me,
Right.
and I think that's the way that we need to move our state forward, like Darla Moore suggests and other people. And so I hope that at the end, when I finish my career, somebody will say, you know, he's helped put his mark positively on the people of South Carolina, especially our young people.
Absolutely. It shows. Ernie, thanks so much for being with us this morning.
Thank
Sorry
you.
we've run out of time.
No problem.
Absolutely. Stay tuned to a little more Carolina People with Ernie Passailaigue, the Executive Director of the South Carolina Education Lottery, coming up next. We're celebrating the South Carolina Education Lottery's grand prize reveal event. Tomorrow's the day. The location's the Market Common. The real festival is the Beach Boogie and Barbecue Festival to be held there to benefit the Omar Shrine and the Citizens Against Spousal Abuse, and a tremendous opportunity to get out there to see the grand prize winner, to see the other finalists, and of course the audience participation. It's all about the South Carolina Education Lottery and just plain fun. Ernie Passailaigue, thanks again for being with us this morning. Have a great wrap up of the summer.